Yo, permanent non-charm shiny odd increase, lure length increase, eggs get out of the way. This is huge. Ezran and the Bunny just summarized for us. Yeah, guys, they were not lying, the devs of PokeRogue. They indeed kept their word, and there is the second update 1 week later, including the long-lost ancient tag of being able to skip egg hatches.
I was asking about Minnesota, though.
Go away!
Hello there, champion. Welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day, and if you're new to this channel, nice to meet you. My name is Knetterkoekje, and welcome. We have another jam-packed PokeRogue update that released last night. The egg hatch skip is nice, but there's so much more to discuss. Sit back, relax, and let's dive straight into all the details. As you can see, we have hatched 13,866 eggs without the egg skip. Yeah, that's a lot of time spent hatching eggs. That could have definitely been a little bit more efficient with the egg skip hatching, but I have to say I am going to miss this though. Yo! That's shiny completion number 1 from eggs. Let me show you what the egg summary screen looks like and how it works exactly. Now whenever you're hatching eggs, you get the prompt to skip to the egg summary, and you can press yes or no. And when you press no, you'll hatch eggs as per usual, and if you choose yes, you get put to the egg summary screen, where all eggs are automatically hatched, and you can basically go over each month to see if you got anything new for them, which is indicated by the blue text as per usual as well. And we actually got a shiny BEM from our very first batch of skipped egg hatches. However, it's a dupe, unfortunately. But hey, it's still cool though. For those of you who are observant, you have probably spotted the voucher event banner at the beginning of the video. Yep, it's a new type of event, and the first time for PokeRogue. All voucher rates have been massively increased, both in Classic and Endless mode. For the duration of the event, which is currently set to end on 12 September at 2 AM Central European Time, all gym leaders and Elite 4 members will give a voucher plus in both Classic and the daily modes, and we have a 3x increase of voucher item table weights and vouchers added to the lowest tier in both Classic and Endless. All around, that just means we're gonna swim in vouchers, guys, so that's pretty nice. Also, pro tip, make sure you clear your cache from your browser. So that is either Ctrl F5 or you have to go to your settings and make sure you clear your cache, not just a normal reset. This will ensure you are playing the updated version of the game. Asking for your support has been scientifically proven to be very effective. We went from 8.1% subscribed viewers to a whopping 15.3%. Thank you all so much for the recent subs, comments and likes. Let's see if we can bump this number up even higher. Legend says that if you press that button, you immediately become a champion, so what are you waiting for? Not as many balance changes as the previous patch from last week, but these are still as impactful though, if not even more. The base encounter shiny rates have been changed from 1 in 2048 to 1 in 1024. Doubling the base odds everywhere. Nice, that means more surprise shinies in my challenge runs on trainers and such. I love it. Shiny charms are unaffected by these rate changes, meaning the first shiny charm is still gonna put you at 1 in 256, the second one will put your odds to 1 in 128, the third one will put your odds to 1 in 64, and when at the maximum of 4 shiny charms, your odds will be 1 in 32, just as it has been always. Same species egg shiny rates have been changed from 1 in 24 to 1 in 12. Okay, that's kind of OP, what the frick, I just hatched like a ton of eggs from candy, but okay, that's fine. That is going to make it much easier to deterministically hunt a shiny though, so it's pretty nice actually. Pokemon can now track and relearn TMs, I reckon with memory mushrooms? Either way, that's awesome. And the escape odds have been changed, which basically means the odds of you being able to run away from any encounter. The escape calculation changes are rather interesting, and the devs did a little write-up on the ins and outs of it, so let's go over it real quick. What are the changes the user will see? At the moment, the escape change is kind of random. There's times where you try to escape and fail, and while it makes sense for more escape chances to increase your odds of escaping, with the current formula it could actually drop your chances of escaping. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that seems kind of unintended. Why am I making these changes? The current escape mechanics are kind of random and not great. This PR aims to fix it as per this thread, this post and this post by Mega. We're not gonna get in all these threads and posts, however there's one thing I want to show you guys. Basically this is the design they are trying to achieve. So there's no guaranteed escapes except for runaway mons. No one escapes Arena Trap and Shadow Tag, except for runaway mons. The speed calculations are in the formula for the escaping, and failed rolls must always increase odds of escaping. With a proposal by ASDAR being that something like 20 into 40% into 60% into 80%, and then after failing 4 times a guaranteed escape of 100% would be... I actually think that's a great suggestion, yeah, I like that a lot. Also, interestingly enough, the current formula is based on Gen 3 and Gen 4, which goes as follows. With this formula, because of the mod 256 at the end, it means that the escape chance could vary wildly depending on how many escape chances you have. To clarify, the current formula is based on Gen 3 and 4. That doesn't mean this is the exact formula that is being used in Gen 3 and 4. However, this graph is interesting because the above shows the escape chance as a mod of 256 for a fixed speed ratio and with a changing number of rerolls, meaning the speed ratio is not taken into consideration in the formula for the escape chance, and it's only depending on the number of rerolls. The speed ratio is your speed divided by the enemy speed. You can see that at 9 rerolls you have an escape chance of almost 256, with 300 basically being a 100% chance to escape. But at reroll 10, it's quite close to 0, which feels very bad to the player. Which is true, so it's interesting. Currently, with the current formula, there's basically no point where you have a 100% chance to escape, and you get a gradually increased odds to escape every time you try to run away, basically. With the first time being a 0% chance, unless you're guaranteed to run away, due to the ability to run away. There is a lot more information provided by the devs on all the formulas and their thought process behind it. I could easily make an entire video about this topic as there's so much to talk about and I think it's very interesting. However, let's sum up that escape formula change and continue covering the rest of the updates. There is a minimum of a 5% chance to escape any encounter. If you're fighting a non-boss Pokemon, the max escape chance is 95%, and if you're fighting a boss Pokemon, the max escape chance is 25%. The base escape chance, if you and the enemy have the same speed, is 28% for non-boss Pokemon and 8% for boss Pokemon. The speed ratio cap, which is the amount of your speed you can have before it stops benefiting you, is 4x for non-boss Pokemon and 6x for boss Pokemon. If at least one Pokemon is a boss Pokemon, use the values for the boss calculation. Right, so there's no average or something, you just get terrible escape odds, pretty much. The bonus for previous escape attempts is 10% per attempt for non-boss Pokemon and 2% per attempt for boss Pokemon. This can also be seen summarized in the table down below. And it seems like we're not really gonna be able to run away from boss Pokemon, which was definitely one of the outs I used many times in my challenge runs. So that's gonna be interesting. I think it's a really good change though, because the escape odds are now actually based on the speed of a Pokemon, which is canonically accurate, and first it was just some random RNG, for lack of better words. Links to all threads and posts regarding escape odds can be found in the video description. Alright, no more talking about escape odds, I promise. Let's move on. For this update's item changes, shiny charms are pretty much unaffected, nothing changes about their odds, it's just the base odds that have been doubled. X items have been reworked. Their ability to stack and general power were much too high to put on top of existing stat boosts, and the end result should still be worth taking when you normally would take them. You can only stack one of each type now. Picking one up will now simply refresh the turn count of the effect. X items now have a multiplier of 1.3x over the previous 1.5x for any of the X items that directly change your stats, so being X special attack, X defense, etc. Dire hit and X accuracy are unaffected. Being an avid X item enjoyer myself, which made challenges that should be impossible possible, it is needless to say that I think these nerfs are a little bit too steep. But I understand that X items were simply too powerful, and I agree with a nerf, obviously. However, I think it would have been better to keep the multiplier at 1.5x, but just make it so you can't stack multiple of the same kind. I will have to play the game a bit with these changes to give you any conclusive thoughts, but this is my initial opinion. So yeah, RIP X items, I guess. But surely with enough backlash from the community, they're just gonna change it right back, right? Right? But in all seriousness, I'm pretty sure the devs are open to all our feedback, so if everybody dislikes it and it turns out to be a terrible change, they will listen to us. And I think it's actually likely they are going to buff it a little bit, because these nerfs are just too steep. It's a little bit too much. Lures of all tiers have been adjusted. The idea of the changes is to simplify lures and increase the ease of access to use them without needing so many. They now function similar to X items, where picking the same type up will refresh the turn count instead of stacking. Lures now have a 4x chance of generating double battles, leading to only needing 1 for 50% odds of double battles, or 1 in 8 for wave 10 boss double battles, 2 for guaranteed double battles, or 50% for the wave 10 boss double battles, and 3 for guaranteed double battles on all wild encounters. This means that we're gonna want to have a normal lure, a super lure, and a max lure active to have guaranteed double battles, which is kind of weird because they're gonna run out of sync, so I guess I have to play a little bit with this to tell you if I like it, but it should be a good change in theory. It's also interesting to note that according to this information, the base chance of getting a double battle is 1 in 8, and I never realized this. Also, that is for normal encounters. The base chance of getting a double boss battle would be 1 in 32. What is a PokeRogue update video without any quality of life changes? We have a lot more localization, which means other languages available. They fixed the sprites for Chien-Pao, Pelipper and Tangrowth. Removed redundant species from starter select filters. Players can no longer start a challenge run with no challenges active. Oh, was that possible? That's kind of funny actually. Changed the wording of space to action in the vouchers and achievement menu. Starter select menu now displays a Pokemon's passive even if it's locked or disabled. Okay, that's good. Fixes and improvements to the run history UI. Default cursor placement in battle and shop adjusted. And remember, if you don't like the default cursor placement in the shop, you can adjust it at will in the settings. Starter select now defaults to the shiny with the rarest variant again. Okay, that's great. I have no idea why they changed that. A ton of people have been asking me why their shiny sprites are bugged, but they were not bugged. They just had to select them in the starter select screen. MBH now properly uses the user's nickname. What the frick is MBH? Added a font size option during registration. Improved the login menu UI. Lures and X items now have a color-coded counters. Oh, that's really good. And lastly, clear body and white smoke no longer trigger messages for each stat dropped. Then we have a bunch of move implementations and fixes, which are Dragon Cheer, Roar and Dragon Tail now remove the correct target sprite. Alluring Voice has been fully implemented, so have Burning Jealousy and Lash Out. Octolock interaction with stat blocking abilities is now fixed. New waves no longer reset the turn count or last used moves, such as Fake Out and Gigaton Hammer, can no longer be spammed at the start of every wave. So I reckon you need a biome change or a transition into a battle to be able to use Fake Out or Gigaton Hammer again. Safeguard has been fully implemented. Acupressure properly uses seeded RNG. Protecting moves now fail when used last. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but feel free to let me know in the comments if you do know what it means. Underwater and underground Pokemon no longer take hail and sand damage, and Power Split, Guard Split, Speed Swap, Guard Swap and Power Swap have been fully implemented. There have also been a couple changes and implementations when it comes to abilities. Terra Shell has been completely implemented, Flower Gift is now a thing. Dancer no longer uses PP when copying moves. Moody properly uses seeded RNG. That's it. I knew something was wrong with my Moody by Barrel. I knew it. Fixed a bug with Aura Break activating without the Dark or Fairy Aura. And the ability Beast Boost now actually chooses the most proficient stat each time it knocks out a Pokemon. Meaning that sometimes the wrong stat was being boosted. Yeah, glad that is fixed. We've already covered most of the item changes regarding X items and lures, but form change items are now split into non-rare and rare items, but have the same odds for now. Oh, and this is actually a W because all lures have had their wave counts increased. Normal lures now last for 10 waves, super lures now last for 15 waves, and max lures now last for 30 waves. So this is probably gonna help out a lot with keeping it in sync, since you're gonna need all 3 of them to guarantee double battles now. Next up is the minor changes. Ineligible Pokemon no longer provide luck bonuses in challenge runs. I guess I can no longer cheese with my epic shiny Eevee. That kinda sucks. But I mean, it's a fair change, right? Getting any benefit from a mon that's not eligible for the challenge is kind of, yeah, contradictory to the challenge. Female versions of all initial 27 starters are added to all players' starter select. Learned TMs can be relearned with memory mushrooms. Right, that wasn't clear initially, but this is very clear. Shedinja can now relearn Ninkada egg moves. Interesting. Oh, and did I tell you the escape formula has been tweaked? Yeah, I did. We have talked about that for like 5 minutes. I might actually do an entire video on that subject because there's just so much to talk about it. I think it's very interesting. Let me know in the comments if a video like this sounds interesting to you as well. And lastly, the species egg shiny rate has been doubled to 1 in 12 from 1 in 24. As said before, I should have really waited with opening all these eggs, and I was kind of expecting some changes, but I just couldn't help myself and I opened all the eggs regardless. Well, not all of them, but definitely a lot. We have arrived at the final segment of this video, which is the other bug fixes. Fixed trapping moves interacting incorrectly with ghost types. Fixed wrong roguelike dialogue. Fixed a bug where saving and loading would advance the RNG. Fixed an affix being incorrectly applied when an enemy trainer would switch out a Pokemon. Fixed Rude not having dialogue lines. Who the frick is Rude? I don't think I've ever encountered him. I didn't mean to be rude. I genuinely don't know who that is. Fixed a bug where Pokemon would have not able rather than learned when a Pokemon knows a move that is not in their compatible TM list. Fixed a bug where there were inconsistent stat boosts when breaking boss shields. Fixed a bug where Finn and Ivy dialogue was swapped. Really? I've never encountered this. That'd be so funny. Fixed a bug where RNG was not being properly reset upon saving and quitting. Made egg RNG unseated and unpredictable. Oh no. Okay, goodbye egg hacks. Shh. Egg hacks? I said nothing. What do you mean hacks? What? Fixed effects not having the right transferable property with baton pass or the baton item. Fixed a bug where move typings were not being properly calculated to 2 abilities. Fixed a bug where some RNG calls were off by 1. I mean, they were pretty close, gotta give it to them. Fixed some typos and incorrect dialogue. Fixed a bug where Pokemon were not reverting to their normal forms on Feint. Fixed some bugs in transforming Pokemon. Fixed the bug of the daily run crashing when the shop cursor target is set to shop. And lastly, evolving now properly increases HP. That covers every detail of this update. Please let me know if there's anything you like or dislike in particular about this update. With the changes to X items, I think the game just became a lot more difficult, which is something I like personally, but I can see why people dislike it. Other than that, I think this update is a big step in the right direction in terms of game design and how roguelike games should feel and play like. I want to wish you guys a lot of fun and luck with the current voucher event. Let's grind out some completions together. Feel free to catch me in my next live stream. I'm live almost daily, starting around 8 PM European Standard Time on both YouTube and Twitch. If you would like to get notified about my streams and join our lovely community of passionate gamers, do not hesitate to join our Discord. The link is in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you next time. Later!